Hey everybody, it's Troy. Over the last 9 months, going into October, I have covered a lot of different distributions. So what I wanted to do was kind of go over the last 9 months and kind of look at everything that I've done and culminate and bring it together to what I believe are the 4 best Linux distros so far in 2022. No apparent order. I just think these are the 4 most stable, the 4 easiest to use, and the 4 that if you're coming to Linux for the first time, or if you're an experienced Linux user, these are the ones you need to jump on. They're going to be awesome to use, they're going to be great for your hardware, and it's just going to be an awesome experience in Linux. Before we get to the videos today, please do me a big favor. If you find these videos informative, if you're not going to subscribe to the channel, please like the videos. That helps me stay in YouTube's algorithm and makes these videos show in front of more people. So that way, if you find the info in the videos helpful, so will other people too. And if you want to, please go ahead and subscribe and hit that notification button so when I upload, you will know what's going on. But here it is in no certain order. These are the 4 distros that I think are the best so far in 2022. Enjoy the videos. Linux Mint. We all agree it's a great distribution. We agree it's easy to use, and if you've been on Linux forever, or if you want to come over to Linux from Windows or Mac, it makes things really easy for you. But it does have kind of a dated look. Some people will argue that, some people won't. But what we're looking at today is what I believe is a distribution that is easy to use as Linux Mint, but way more beautiful. It gives you more eye candy without sacrificing resources, and that is Feren OS. We're going to look at the newest release of Feren OS, which came out April of 2022, and this is their website. I'll be sure to include that link in the description below. And when you come to their site, you've got Home, Get Feren OS, you've got News and Help, and you have archived versions of the operating system if you want to look at a little older version of it. It basically lets you know it's designed around the user. It's got a whole world of applications. I love their store. We're getting ready to cover that. And then a couple of reviews down here from Linux Format and Linux Insider. So without any further ado, we're going to zip on over to the Feren OS desktop. And if you download Feren, throw it on a USB or open it up into a virtual machine, this is the desktop you're met with. Right off the bat, you can tell it's beautiful. The bottom panel has transparency in it, and you have a Welcome to Feren OS screen. Basically, it lets you take a little tour. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and start the tour. And the first thing it wants to let you know is they did make some changes. Feren OS has detected that you're running in a virtual machine, and therefore a minor change has been made so that the settings will work with the virtual machine. And that main change is that Xrender is being used as the default compositor. This is in order to reduce CPU usage. You can come down here as well and install VM tools for VMware or install guest editions for VirtualBox if you want to run this in a virtual situation as opposed to on hardware. So we'll go ahead and click Next. And then if you are coming from Windows, they give you a transfer tool so you can transfer your files for Microsoft Windows. You can go down here and open it, and if you click on How do I use the tool, it'll open up in the default browser, which is Vivaldi, and give you a little handbook on exactly how to use the transfer tool. This is great. It makes it easy, and it gives it to you right at login. So when you're going through this and you're going through the welcome screen, you can zip on over here. It's got your requirements. It's got a video guide if you want to go watch that on YouTube. So this is something I tell you to definitely take a look at if you want to give this a test drive. So we're going to go back to the welcome screen and click Next. And then you can start installing Feren OS if you want. You can install it right here, or you can view the Feren OS user guide. You can get third-party codecs right here. This is what some people say is the difference between Linux Mint and other Linux distros, because everybody knows if you're using Ubuntu, you have to get the restricted codecs, and Linux Mint generally just comes with them. But with this welcome screen, you just zip on over here, you click on install, it installs them, and you're good to go. And then, of course, desktop mode, you can pick whether you want the default, which is what we're on, or the tablet mode. And then using the desktop, click the applications menu button at any time to open the applications. Window management down here in your little dock, and then your system tray, which is over here. You click on that and this will pop up. It'll show you your onboard, keyboard, clipboard, night color control, disks and devices, lock key status, and then KDE Connect. If you're not familiar with that, you can download the application onto your Apple or Google device, and that way you can sync right up with your computer, and it gives you a lot of power with your phone and your computer. And then desktop search, you can start typing while on your desktop with no open windows, or strike Alt F2 with your keyboard at any time, and then you can start doing a quick search. Applications, solve math equations, find bookmarks, or quickly open your browser tabs. And then of course the Feren OS store, which we will look at here in a moment. And then theme mode, you can change it from default, light, or dark. I like a dark theme, so I'm going to go ahead and pick the dark theme, and there it's switched. If you would like to, please choose the theme mode that suits you most. We've already done that, so we'll go to next. And then pair your Feren OS machine with your Android device, which we just discussed on the KDE Connect. And then reduce eye strain. You can configure night color control if you want to. And then enjoy. And then you close out of that. Your small tour is over. And then you've got an option of sending feedback or installing Feren OS, but we're just going to use it in a live mode on this virtual machine. First thing I'm going to do is come up here up top. You see that you got your clock up here and a little arrow. If you click on that, this is where your notifications would pop up. Now, if you don't want to be disturbed, you can click on Do Not Disturb. You can set it for 1 hour, 4 hours, until this evening, tomorrow morning, or you can manually disable it. That's truly up to you. So I'm going to go ahead and close out of that. And then come down to the bottom. We've already looked at our system tray, internet connection, battery power, and of course your volume controls right here. If you come over to the middle right here, you have your default browser, which is Vivaldi. And I do recommend that if you haven't used Vivaldi lately, to download it and give it a test drive. Right here, you can import data from another browser if you would like. I'm not going to do that at the moment, so we're going to go ahead and close out of that and close out all these open windows and then open it back up because it was opened from a while ago when we were in the tour. And when you get your main start page right here, it uses Bing as a default search engine. Now you can change this in settings to DuckDuckGo or Google or whatever you might want. Also, it comes out of the box with ad trackers and blockers. As you can see right here, it'll let you know how many trackers and how many ads have been blocked. And then you can come over here and get more information if you would like that. And then, of course, right here, you've got different bookmarks of different sites that you could bookmark right here. Now, if you don't want them there, all you got to do is hit the minus button, and they do disappear, so they're not stuck on your screen. What I want to do is come over here to the left. You've got your bookmarks, your history, your notes, and then Vivaldi.com, and then Wikipedia. Now, you can go down here to settings and open that up, and you have a lot of different options here. Everything from general options to appearance, all the way down to display all. But like I said, if you haven't tried out Vivaldi or taken a look at it lately, if you do download Feren, I suggest you give Vivaldi a test run. I'm going to go ahead and close out of this. We're going to come on down here, and we're going to open up our files. And as you can see right here, this is the KDE desktop. And a lot of people will notice that right off the bat, it does not come with Dolphin. It comes with Files out of the box. Now, I prefer Dolphin in some of the things that I do, but Files is a great file manager. You've got your usual suspects over here. You got your home folders right here. And I truly love the way it looks, whether it's in the light theme or the dark theme. It's just a great looking file manager, and it stays out of your way. It lets you get your work done without any issues. So I'm going to go ahead and close out of that. Next thing I want to do is go down here. I'm going to go ahead and open up settings. And if you're used to KDE, you're used to the system settings. So right now, it's in a light theme. We're going to go ahead and make it dark across the operating system. And there you go. That is quick. That is changed. And right off the bat, you can change your wallpaper from here if you want to. If you want to, go ahead and click on Change Wallpaper. If you look over here, you get some KDE wallpapers. You get some Feren wallpapers. If you're used to KDE, you know they have a specific theme of wallpapers. But I do like the look that some of the Feren wallpapers have. I truly love the look of this whole operating system. And then you've got other things over here. You've got mouse actions, location, icons. If you wanted to change your icon setup, you can change the rows, the alignments, the size. You really got a lot of different things you can change over here. I'm going to go ahead and cancel out of that. And then down here, one click will open or one click selects them. I usually leave a double click so I can open because that's what I'm used to. If I leave it on a single click, I start having all kinds of things open. So this is really based on what your preference is and how you do your things and how you have a workflow going. Now we're going to go over here and click on appearance. And as you can see, it brings up a whole bunch of different ways you can change your system. I recommend that if you do download it, definitely go over, play around with it a little bit, and see what you really like and how you truly want to set your system up. Right here, you can change your application style, your plasma style, and I'm not going to go in depth with this because a lot of you have seen me cover KDE in the past. As a matter of fact, I will link a video at the end of this that you can go to if you want to know everything and all the settings that you can change right here. I have an in-depth video. It's about 30 minutes long that lets you know everything that you have control of in your KDE desktop environment. I'm going to go ahead and close out of this. And then if you come back down over here to the application start menu, you've got your favorites, you've got all applications, you've got graphics, you've got Krita and LibreOffice Draw, KDE Connect, Geary Mail, great mail client, web browser manager. Now, a lot of you would be saying, I don't like Vivaldi. What if I want a different web browser? Well, Feren makes it real easy. You can click right here, uninstall Vivaldi, and then you can pick any of these browsers you want. Google Chrome, Microsoft Edge, Firefox, Brave, Opera, LibreWolf, Falcon, GNOME Web. Whatever you might want, you can put on there quickly and be up and running. So just remember that. So we'll come back down here, go back up to Internet, down to Multimedia. You got VLC Media Player. You got the LibreOffice Suite settings. You've got your boot repair, Synaptic Package Manager. Let's go ahead and cover that real quick, and then we'll check out their store. Those of you who are familiar with my videos know that I truly love Synaptic Package Manager for one reason and one reason only. You can go up here and do a search. Let's say we were looking for something like OBS Studio. Let's go ahead and reach out there and do that search. There's OBS Studio. You check mark it for installation. It'll let you know what dependencies are required. You mark those dependencies, and then you can come up and click apply and install it. Let's say you wanted to install something else as well. So let's go to Kdenlive. Let's do a search for that. There's Kdenlive. Let's go ahead and mark that for installation. Come down here and mark all the dependencies for installation. And now you can come up here and look that you've got OBS marked, Kdenlive. Then you can apply, and both of them would be installed at the same time. I love Synaptic Package Manager. It's still one of my most favorite package managers out there. It truly makes it easy and quick to install software. I'm going to go ahead and close out of that. What we're going to do is come back down here, go back to Settings, and go to Store. And this is the Feren Store. I love the way it looks. I do believe it definitely looks way better than Linux Mint's or Ubuntu's. I would say the only store that probably beats it in looks is the Pop Shop on Pop OS. But you can come over here. You've got your editor's picks right here. You've got Blender, Thunderbird, VirtualBox. Let's say you were wanting something on accessories. Just click on accessories, and you can come through here and find pretty much anything you want. Or you could even go up here and do a search. Let's say we wanted to do OBS Studio. Type that in, and it brings it up right here. Live streaming and video recording software. If you just click on it, you can scroll down. You've got reviews, got the package information, and it lets you know right here that OBS Studio is a flat pack. So you do have flat packs engaged out of the box. But that's a quick way to get software installed on Feren OS. Now, I want to close out because I do want to show you something else as well. Let's go back to Settings. No, actually, I want to go down to System. And first thing I want to show you is the GDebi Package Manager. So let's say you go online, you download a Debian package, and you want to install it as opposed to using the Feren Shop or Synaptic Package Manager. Download it. Once it's downloaded, all you got to do is open it up, right-click it, open it with GDebi Package Manager, and this package installer will install it. So you've got 3 different ways to install software on Feren OS. I love it. Let's go back down here, go back up to System. I want to go to Console real quick, and I want to see if they have HTOP installed. Let's go ahead and go with top. They don't have HTOP. Let's go ahead and maximize that so you can see it. Right now, I've got 4 gigabytes of RAM issued to this machine. At rest, with just the console open, we're using about 900 megabytes. That's going to be a little high because we are in a virtual machine. But this is a little heavier than your Linux Mint Cinnamon or whatever you might be using. But at the same time, if you're wanting something that looks a little better, you do give up a little bit in resource usage, but not a lot. I'm going to go ahead and close out of this. Come back down here, back up to System. You've got your Info Center. Let's go ahead and click on that. That lets you know this is KDE Plasma 5.24.4. Qt versions 5.15.3 and kernel version is 5.13.0-40 generic, and this is Feren OS. the April 2022 release. Let's go ahead and close out of that. Come back down here, back into system. You got your login window, system feedback, send feedback, store we've already looked at. And then you got utilities, you got your calculator, files, and Spectacle, which is your screenshot tool. You also do have the Latte Dock installed. So you can adjust that and play around with that and pretty much make Feren look any way that you want it to. That, my friends, was a quick look at Feren OS. I truly believe it's one of the best looking Linux distributions out there. And I also believe that if you're somebody that's using Linux Mint or you're using Ubuntu and you're tired of the look and feel of it, that Feren OS is definitely a place for you to check out. Today, I'm going to be covering a fairly new and young Linux distribution. As a matter of fact, most of the people I have spoken to have never even heard of it. It was first brought to my attention back in December of 2021. At that time, I downloaded it, used it, and I was really impressed with it. It is Ultramarine Linux. It's a Fedora-based distribution featuring extra package repositories such as RPM Fusion and multimedia codecs. Ultramarine can be considered a spiritual successor to the Karora project and aims to make Fedora a more desktop-friendly experience. We are presently at Ultramarine's webpage, which is ultramarine-linux.org. I'll be sure to include that link in the description below. And you can see they have a beautiful little web page. And there's another thing I want to tell you right now. If you try out Ultramarine and you like it and you already have a Fedora install, there's a migration code that all you got to do is enact this right here, and it'll put Ultramarine right on top of your Fedora installation. This is Ultramarine Flagship 36 Rhode Island. And if you scroll down a little bit, it tells you a little bit about it. It was designed for your own personal workstation or battle station, whatever you might want to call that. It is designed to be as easy to use as possible and stays out of the way. The best way I can describe Ultramarine is it is what to Linux Mint is to Ubuntu. So Linux Mint to Ubuntu is Ultramarine to Fedora. That's the best way I can put it. It's designed to be 100% bug-for-bug compatible with Fedora. It provides a developer-friendly environment, and it applies common tweaks and settings to make sure your out-of-the-box experience is as smooth as it can be. Now, they do have some sponsors, and then if we go back up, if we go to download, their flagship edition is in the Budgie desktop environment. They're also working on a Cutefish edition, which is in early development, and they only recommend it at this moment for advanced users. I have used the Cutefish edition, and it's got a few bugs in it, but they're getting it right, and I can't wait to try it. Then they also have it in the GNOME, and then you can also get it with the Pantheon desktop environment, like with Elementary OS. Now you can download it direct, or they do have torrents right down here. So I'm going to go back up top. They also do have an About, which is on the other page where we were just at, and then they do have a wiki as well. So what I'm going to do right now is we're going to zip on over to Ultramarine's desktop. And if you download Ultramarine, throw it on a USB, or open it up into a virtual machine, this is the screen you're met with. I love the layout. It's really minimalistic, but it looks good. I like it. I like the icons that they use for the taskbar, and I do like the Budgie menu that pops up over here. Now, the first thing I want to do is I'm going to right-click on the desktop. We've got Budgie desktop settings, and you have system settings. So let's go ahead and check out the Budgie desktop settings. And right here, you've got style. You can change the way your widgets look right here. Fluid, round, dark, icons, cursors, notification position. Do you want them to pop up in the bottom right? Or you can change it to bottom left, top right, top left. You've got a little bit of control there. You can turn the dark theme on and off right here. And then there's a built-in theme. When enabled, the built-in theme will override the desktop component styling, and then your animations. And then desktop. Over here, if you want desktop icons, all you got to do is flip that switch right there, and you get your desktop icons over here. I'm going to go ahead and leave those off. And then active mounts, of course. You can turn that on. Now, your active mounts right here is showing inactive because I am in a virtual machine. But if you do try this on a live USB or install it, you'll be able to turn that on or off. Then home directory, add a shortcut to your home directory on the desktop, and then trash. So when we turn those on, you've got your live user home directory and trash right there. Now, if you don't want those to show, you can shut them off. And then you could just have your installed hard drive or your mounts loaded up right here. We're going to go ahead and shut that back off. Click policy, right now it's on single click. If you want to double click to open, you could do that right there. I'll leave it on single. And then of course your icon size you can adjust if you want to. And then the number of virtual desktops that you have right here. And then you can of course change your fonts. You can adjust those for window titles, documents, interface, monospace, text scaling, hinting, and anti-aliasing. And then you do have your Raven settings right here. Right now your Raven's set for automatic. Now if you don't know what Raven is, if you come down here, you've got a little white arrow right here. If you click on that, that is your Raven setup. You can change this and adjust it and put things in here and take things out. If we showed the calendar widget off and then click back open, you can notice that the calendar disappears. And then if you turn it back on, it'll reset. And then of course you can put your calendar back up. Now, if you want to show week numbers on your calendar, you can do that as well. And then if you look up here, you'd have week numbers that would show on the calendar. Raven gives you a little bit more power over your system. If you're playing any kind of multimedia in the background, you'll have adjustments here for the sound. You can shut it off, pause it, do whatever you want. There's also your microphone setting right here that you can adjust up and down. And then of course your notifications, any notifications over here will be listed so they're not just all crunched up with your applets. So, but I enjoy Raven. If you get a chance and you do download this and you want to take a look at it, check Raven out. And then we go over to Windows. You can adjust different things that you want to do with your windows here. Everything from attach modal dialogues to windows, all the way down to show all windows in a tab switcher. And then your bottom panel right here, you can add applets if you want to your bottom panel, or remove them if you want to. Right now you've got the budgie menu, you've got your icon task list, which is in the center, which is right here. And then over here you've got the system tray, separator, keyboard layout. Let's say you wanted to remove the keyboard layout. You could go ahead and click it, hit trash, remove applet, and the keyboard layout disappears. And then you could also go over to settings. You could position to the bottom if you wanted to. You could go to the left, top if you wanted to, or drop it to the right. So you've got full adjustment on that. I'm going to go ahead and go back to the bottom. Then you can adjust the size of it if you want to. Make it bigger or make it smaller. That's up to you. And then you could also add a shadow, add a decorative shadow. Styled regions dock mode. When in dock mode, the panel will use a minimal amount of space. So if you click on that, it brings it over here to a nice small mode. And then when you click on that, Raven still comes up over here on your right hand side. So let's close Raven and let's go ahead and go back to panel. And then auto start, it lets you know right here, the only thing that starts up when you auto start is your welcome to Ultramarine. So we're going to go ahead and close out of that. We're going to right click again, and then we're going to go to system settings. And if you're familiar with GNOME, these will look a little bit familiar to you. If you go up top, you've got network, Bluetooth. You can adjust a background if you want to. I think it's just a one click and it automatically changes it. There you go. I kind of like that, so I'm going to leave that up. Then you've got your notifications, multitasking, application, sound, power, just your general basic settings that you have on a Linux distribution. Let's go ahead and go to About. And if you open this up, it lets you know the device name is Fedora, hardware, let you know you're using an i7 Ultramarine Linux 36, budgie version 10.5.3, and virtualization is being run through Oracle. So we're going to go back up top and we're going to go ahead and close out of this. I want to go ahead and right click on the panel and it doesn't do anything. So we'll come over here and open up the application launcher. You've got accessories right here. You've got connections. If you're not familiar with connections, this is the way you can pretty much share desktops between any computers. And right here, it just says, just hit the plus button to make your first connection. So you could turn sharing on a Windows or Linux or a Mac and be able to run that PC from right here. So I'm going to go ahead and close out of that. Come back down to the app manager and we will go ahead and open up files. And if you open it up, I love the theming that they're using here. I like the transparency in the folders. You can kind of see through them, and then they've got the icons on them as well. And then up top, you've got a little bit of transparency up here, but it's your basic file manager. It doesn't get in your way. It lets you get things done. It's version 42.1.1, lightweight, but still powerful at the same time. So I'm going to go ahead and close out of that. Go back over here to accessories. Then you've got GNOME clocks, Wall Street control, weather, and then window shuffler. I like window shuffler. I know a lot of people love the tiling, but I do like window shuffler too, especially because you can use shortcuts on the keyboard to do what you want with it. Like if you got this open right here, this kind of gives you some cheat sheet right here of what it actually does. So I'm going to go ahead and click. So we select this. If I wanted to move this to bottom left, all you got to do is do Control Alt 1 and it moves it down to the bottom left. You can also go to Control Alt 2 and it would actually take up the whole bottom half of the screen. And then if you wanted to go to the top half, you could go Control Alt 8 and it moves it up there. We'll move it back down. So what I'm going to do right now is go ahead and move it up to the top left, Control Alt 7, and we put it back where it is. This will work on any window that you have open for any application. So that way you can kind of have a little bit more control over your tiling and how you want to set things up. I know a lot of people love the tiling in the pop shell. If you do take Ultramarine for a test drive, I highly suggest you play around with the window shuffler. You can add custom layouts. You can also adjust window rules, set yourself up an applet, and then of course miscellaneous. So what's really nice is once you set this up, you could set up an applet, and if you have your layout laid in it, when you click that applet, it will have your custom layout set up to where you can do your workflow the way you want to. So definitely check that out if you do give this a test drive. We will go back up to accessories. We've already looked through all that. And then education, graphics, internet, office, other. You've got your Budgie Control Center, which I think we've already taken a look at, but I want to pull that back up. Yes, we have. System settings and Budgie Control Center are one and the same. You've got Cheese, sound recorder, videos, system tools. You can install it to the hard drive. We have HTOP. Let's go ahead and take a look at HTOP. And right now, with just the terminal open, I've issued this machine 4 gigabytes of RAM. We're presently using 900 megabytes with just terminal open, which isn't too bad. It's less than a gig. But I will have people say that that's extremely heavy, because if we're not running something that's only using 200 megabytes on the desktop, then it's too heavy. But this is still a beautiful distribution, and I still believe that is pretty light. So I'm going to go ahead and close out of that. We'll go back up here, sound and video, system tools, and we will check out software. Now we will wait for the software catalog to be downloaded and updated, so that will take a moment. Now the software center has loaded and populated, and as you can see, it's got a nice layout. It's just like Fedora. But one of the things that I like about Ultramarine is it comes with RPM Fusion installed out of the box, so you don't have to worry about doing that yourself. Now, if we go up here to search, I know for a fact that OBS Studio is only available on RPM Fusion. So I'm going to go ahead and look it up. And there's OBS Studio right there. You just click on it. It'll load your application details right here, and then you can install it from there. So that makes things a whole lot easier. Fedora is a great OS, but sometimes you need things a little easier for some people. Like Mint makes it easier to use an Ubuntu-based system than using Ubuntu. And I think Ultramarine is going to do the same thing for Fedora. You can download Ultramarine and pretty much plug it, play, and go, and be ready to get to work and be ready to start downloading the software that you need and to be able to get things done. So let's zip back on over here to the app menu and go to utilities. We've got system monitor, screenshot, password, and keys. And that is pretty much it. That's pretty much a look at Ultramarine Linux. I think it's a very impressive distribution. The overall look is clean, aesthetically pleasing. I like the icon set. I like the theming. It is very beautiful and at the same time very functional. You get the power of Fedora with all the extras already preloaded. Like I said, it's what Linux Mint is to Ubuntu, Ultramarine is to Fedora. Tell me what you think. Is it something you might download, throw in a USB, put in a virtual machine, and take for a test drive? Let me know in the comments below. Today we're going to be taking a look at one of the distributions I really enjoy, quite honestly. It's one of the ones that I use quite often. It does state on the website that it's an MX Linux customized, molded, and shaped for content creators. But I use it for so much more. I use it for office work. I use it for business work. I really think it's probably one of the most all-around distributions I've ever used. Yes, it does say on the website that it's specifically for content creators, but this was probably what I would call the most fun and most all-around Linux distro I've ever used. Now, if you download AV Linux, throw it on a USB, open it up into a virtual machine, this is the screen you're met with. Right off the bat, you get a welcome screen, and basically what this is telling you is you're using the version 21.1 Consciousness. This was released on April 15th of 2022, and it kind of gives you a little bit of history that it's a multimedia content creation and has been around since 2008. What I really love about this distribution is it comes with the Liquorix kernel. So if there are specific things you need to do or more power that you're going to need out of the kernel, this kernel will definitely deliver. It comes in the XFCE 4 desktop environment. In addition, there are a whole host of useful tools, including MX tools. Now, if you're somebody that has used MX or somebody that has read about MX, you'll understand that MX tools is definitely something you would like to have on a distribution, and a lot of people wish they came on other distributions, and we will cover some of those tools in a moment. And basically, they say take your time, look around, try things out. It is awesome to use. It is easy to use. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and close out of the welcome screen here. And one of the things I like is you always get beautiful wallpapers. Now, a lot of people will leave comments on my reviews and say, why do you care about wallpapers? Well, I'm the kind of person that when I put an operating system on my machine, I really don't want to chase around and find different wallpapers. I just want them to be there out of the box. So that's one of the things I do like about it. Now, if you right click here, it's definitely going to give you the XFCE menu that you're used to seeing, but I love the theming that they use here. It's a little bit lighter, it's a little bit brighter, and with the dark background, I just think it comes off real well. But it's got favorites right here, everything from installer, Firefox, files, software, MX tools, and then down here you've got your accessories and office and settings and stuff like that. So you've got XFCE, and then you do have OpenBox Window Manager as well. So it kind of has the best of both worlds for you, okay? And of course, you could come over here and just go to your applications, and then you could go to recently used, all applications, settings, system, and things like that. I do love the beauty of the Conky over here. It lets you know that it's Tuesday, tells you the time, and then over here it lets you know that it's based on MX21 Wildflower, which in and of itself is based on Debian 11. Now this version is actually based on Debian 11.3, and the kernel that they're using is 5.16.0-18.1 Liquorix. Lets you know that it's a genuine Intel Core i7. And then down here it lets you know what RAM's being used at present. In this VirtualBox, I have issued it 2 gigabytes of RAM, and at present we're using about 559 megabytes at rest. So even if you're not a content creator and you want to use this as a daily driver, this is definitely something to take a look at. And what we're going to do right now is we're going to come back down here to the dock. You've got Firefox as your web browser. Then right here you got your file manager. Let's go ahead and open that up. And this right here is the Thunar file manager. What I like about it is the theming of it. I love the colors that they use. Now this may not be your cup of tea, but they're easy to change. You know, you can go into the XFCE settings and change those. You've got your usual suspects over here. And then of course right here, you've got your home folders. It's just a lightweight file manager, but it's still powerful enough to let you get things done. So I'm going to go ahead and close out of this. And then we come back down here. You do have your MX package installer. I'm going to go ahead and open that up so I can show you what we're going to be doing here. And all you have to do right there is type demo. That is the password for it. Once you type that in, it brings you up your MX package installer. Now right here, you can add a bunch of different packages and software to your system. And you can go down through here, like under audio, you can click on that. And if there's anything under audio you would like to add, like let's say you wanted to add Asunder and Pulse Effects, and you wanted to add Spotify. Let's go ahead and make that smaller. Browser, let's say you want something other than Firefox. You could come over here and pick the browser you wanted. Let's say you wanted Brave. And then you could go down through here and pretty much pick whatever you wanted application-wise and choose it. Let's go ahead and pick Thunderbird. And let's say you wanted to get Lutris. And then you could go down here to icons. Let's go ahead and get some different. Let's go with the Obsidians. Now you could go through all of this right here, select everything that you wanted. Let's say you wanted an Office suite, Abbey Word, Calibre, Events, LibreOffice, only Office desktop editors. Let's say you wanted Libre, go ahead and click on that. But you could pick all these different packages that you wanted, come down here, click install, and it would install them at one fell swoop, as opposed to having to go find them one by one. Now if you come up here, it says stable repo. It'll download the package information right here and let you know what stable repos you are on. And there's all the packages that you could get from the stable repo. And then the MX test repo. And it gives you a warning. You're about to use MX test repository, whose packages are provided for testing purposes only. I'm going to go ahead and close out of that. And these are your testing repo. Then you got your Debian backports. It'll show you those as well. And then, of course, your flat packs over here. So you have a lot of different options. Let's go ahead and type demo again. And once you do that, everything from the Flat Hub will pop up right here. And then you could go choose anything you wanted from the Flat Hub. So you pretty much got a lot of different things you can do on the MX package installer that makes your life really easy. So I'm going to go ahead and close out of that. And then we're going to come back down to the bottom and we're going to open up the terminal and we're going to see if they have HTOP. And they do have HTOP, so I'm going to go ahead and maximize that so you can see everything. And right now, like I stated, we have about 2 gigabytes of RAM issued to this machine at rest with just the terminal open. We're at about 750 to 800 megabytes being used, which isn't really that bad, quite honestly. It is a little higher than some other XFCE distros, but for what you get and the beauty of it, I just think you can't go wrong. And on the 2 CPUs that I'm using right now, we're using anywhere between 5 and 10%. So I'm going to go ahead and close out of that. And then you also have sound, your internet, and then of course your update manager. Let's go ahead and update that. And right here you've got the MX updater. You can view an upgrade or previewing for full upgrade. You can look over here, 9 upgraded packages, 0 installed, 0 to remove, and 0 not upgraded. After this operation, you're going to use 19.5 kilobytes of disk space. I'm not going to do that at present because I am in a virtual machine. So I will go ahead and close out of that. And of course, you've got your power button right here. Now we're going to go ahead and open up the application menu right now. And you're going to have recently used, all applications, and then your accessories. Right here, you've got everything from application finder, catfish file search, your Conky manager. You can adjust the way this looks over here. I don't know why you would. I think it's beautiful, but you might want something different. Screenshot tool, task manager, touchpad, and then of course development, graphics. You get GIMP out of the box as well as Inkscape, and then you do have GPIC and Ristretto as well. You've got transmission for your BitTorrent client, and then Firefox and FileZilla. On multimedia, now this is where this really comes into place. If you're somebody that's wanting to start working in audio or video, this pretty much gives you everything that you're going to need. You've got everything from ALSA Mixer, AvidMux, Cinderella, Guitarix, Handbrake, Caden Live, MPV Player, OBS Studio, Pulse Audio Volume Control, Simple Screen Recorder, VLC Media Player. You have so many different applications pre-installed that this really makes it easy for you. Now I'm going to have people in the comments go, this is nothing special. We can go download all these applications and we don't have to worry about it. One thing I love about this distro is it's already there. You don't got to put in the time to go over and download these things one by one. I know that y'all are going to say you can, but this, I think, just makes it easier. Then you've got MX Tools right here, brightness on your system tray, disk manager, iDevice mounter. If you're using an iPhone or an iPad, you can mount it right here on this Linux distribution. You've got the USB kernel updater, MX boot options, MX cleanup, MX date and time, Conky, USB maker, menu, repo manager. You've got so many different things right here. You can also do what's called an MX snapshot, which is creating a live ISO snapshot of your running system. So let's say when you get done setting it all up the exact way you want it, you can come in here and make a snapshot, make a live ISO and put it on a USB, put it in your bag. If you should ever have any problems and you want to go back to a certain point, you plug that ISO in and it's your distribution exactly the way you had it set up. NVIDIA driver installer, this right here is really handy. You click on it and then of course type demo and it's going to bring it up right here and basically ask you, there's no NVIDIA card found, but when I do install this on this Alienware, it will find my NVIDIA card. And I've installed this in the past and it makes getting NVIDIA up really simple. So I'm going to go ahead and close out of that. Let's go back up to applications. We were at MX Tools. Then you've got quick system info, system keyboard, system locales. And then of course you've got Office, other. This right here is if you want to set wine up, You want to run some Windows programs, and then settings, Bluetooth, display, MX Tweak, Synaptic Package Manager. I'm going to go ahead and open this up because I believe this is one of the best ways to get applications installed on your system. Now, at the beginning, we were looking at the MX tool for installing applications all at once. This is where you come in, you try to hone it down to what you really want to install on a system. So let's say you were wanting to install something like LibreOffice. You could come up here to the search bar, type in LibreOffice, hit enter, and there's your LibreOffice suite. All you'd have to do is mark it for installation, and what it'll do right here is it'll bring up a window to show you all dependencies and everything that's involved in LibreOffice. So you'll have LibreOffice Base, Calc, Common Core, Draw, Impress, Math, Writer. And once you say, okay, I want that, so we're going to mark all of those for installation. Now let's say you want to go ahead and get Thunderbird. Go ahead and put Thunderbird in. You can come over here and you can mark Thunderbird as well. Mark it for installation. It'll let you know what dependencies are required. You can go ahead and mark it. So right here, you can pretty much just go search for everything that you want. Go ahead and mark them for installation. And once you have them marked, you can come up here and click on apply, and it will install them all. You can pretty much have the same control that the MX tool at the beginning has. With the MX tool, you can just go through and click a check mark and hit install, and it does it. You can come over here and pick them one by one, go search and filter and find them, mark them for installation, and then once you have everything picked and selected, hit apply and it'll install them all at once. And then of course down here you've also got status, origin, custom filters, search results, and architecture. I mean, it's a great way to install software on your operating system. So I'm going to go ahead and close out of this. Quit. And that, my friends, is a quick look at AV Linux. I think a very underrated distribution. I think a lot of people look at it and say, hey, it's just for audio and video people, but it's not. It is a beautiful operating system. Yes, it does have the tools for audio and video. It makes it a lot easier to do that kind of work. But if you're somebody new and you're wanting to learn the programs of Linux that deal with audio and video, I think this distribution is definitely the way to go. What do you think? Is this something you might download, throw on a USB, put in a virtual machine, and take for a test drive? Let me know in the comments below. I'm going on almost 15 years of using Linux. And I have to say I've had some great experiences using Linux, and I've had some experiences I'd rather not discuss. But about a month ago, I did a video that basically said Linux is just too effing hard. And pretty much showed you how to install Garuda and how to get it up and running for a new user in less than an hour. And not only was that on the install, but that was also installing all of the applications you were going to use. Now, having said that, I left Garuda on my production machine. When I say production machine, that is the machine I use to make all of my videos. And let me tell you something. This is the best experience with Linux I have ever had. And the first thing you're going to always hear, whether it's on a forum or whether it's on videos, is that Garuda runs too heavy. Now, I took a screenshot before I turned OBS on just so I could kind of show you what I was dealing with at rest. And at rest, I'm using about 710 megabytes. And that's before anything started up. But what you will notice is if you go up here, you look, I have very low CPU usage. I have a couple spikes here when I went online or I opened up a browser. But other than that, I haven't had any issues at all with too much memory or memory drain. Now, when I ran Manjaro, I used to have a lot of issues with lost memory or memory drain. I haven't experienced that on Garuda. Garuda has been really tight. It's been awesome. And it's handled, like I said, everything I have thrown at it. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to close out of this. And I'm going to go ahead and open up my HTOP or system monitor. And right now I'm running at about 1.5 gigabytes. Now, I do have James DSP for Linux running in the background and OBS running in the background. But when those get shut down and I'm done recording my video, it falls back down around 600 to 800 megabytes. It fluctuates a little bit. Let me tell you something, for a KDE desktop, that is very impressive. Now, a lot of times when you get it installed and you start installing your applications, you start having a lot of errors. This was a consistent issue with me on Manjaro. I loved the overall performance of Manjaro the whole time I was on it, but there always seemed to be an issue, something I had to fix, something that took time away from my work that I had to fix. Now, having said that, I was happy with Manjaro because it really didn't ever take me that long to fix the issues. But let me tell you how refreshing it is to have an Arch-based operating system that I can put on my machine. Other than one thing that I'll bring up here in a little bit, I have not had to jump through hoops to do anything. And one of the reasons, I believe, is if you go up and you look up Garuda here, you've got what's called your Garuda Assistant. And this is a very important tool. System update, I run on a daily basis. Now, if I tried this on Manjaro, or I updated every time Manjaro come out with an update, there was always a little something I would lose. Something would not necessarily break, but it would tweak it to a point that I couldn't fix it back to the way I had it, and I just had to deal with it. I just thought that was the nature of the beast and just lived with it. You don't have to anymore with Garuda. Right here, you've got your system update. You've got refresh mirror list. This tool right here has helped me out quite a bit because I can just zip on over here and click on system update. And they're just scripts that run in the background, and they pop up and it will actually show you the terminal, what it's running while it's doing it. Or you can go to console down here and actually put the update in yourself and be good to go and not have to worry about it. It just makes it really easy, especially if you're a newer user, because that's what I hear all the time. I can't believe you're recommending Garuda to new users. Why not? The learning curve on Garuda is really not that steep. Now, I'm going to go ahead and close out of this, and I want to show you something else. We come back down here. You go to Garuda Welcome, and I'm going to open this one up. This right here is probably my favorite because it has everything in one place. You've got your Garuda Assistant, your Garuda Gamer, your Garuda Settings Manager, Partition Manager, Add and Remove Software, Chaotic AUR, your website. It gives you everything right here that you need. And I'm going to pin that previous video at the end of this video so you can watch it. It's me going through the complete install of Garuda and really how easy it was to set everything up. Now, a lot of people will point out that if you look down here, I have the panel and I got away from the Latte dock that comes with Garuda. It was a really smooth and easy change for me. I love Latte dock, but at the same time, I like the default panel better. Plus, Latte dock was a little heavy for me. All it came down to was just going up, quitting Latte dock, coming down here, going over to Octopi, and opening up Octopi, and just going up and looking Latte dock up and uninstalling it. Now, if you do that yourself, or here, I'm sorry, just put in Latte, and you click on it, all you got to do is instead of install, it says remove right here. You click on it, it'll show you the dependencies that are getting taken off. You click OK, and then come up here and hit this check mark, and it takes Latte dock off. Now, once you do that, all you got to do is right click on your screen, come down here and add panel, and just add a default panel, which is what I did. And then after I did that, of course, I pinned all the applications that I use most of the time on it, and then I made it a floating dock. If you go over here and hit edit mode and go to more options, you got a floating panel. I'm sorry, I said floating dock. You've got a floating panel or a standard panel. And if you look down at the bottom, that is what it looks like. Now, what I want to do is I want to go ahead and go back to edit mode, go to more options, put my floating panel back up, and if you see, you're good to go down there. Just to give you an idea of what kind of hardware I'm running this on. It is an IdeaPad 3 that I come across with 8 gigabytes of RAM and a 8th or 9th generation i5. I'm not really sure on that yet. I'll get more information on that in the future. But I'm also running an external monitor that I use when I do most of my video editing. It's just easier for me to see. No problems hooking up the second panel. Garuda recognized it right off the bat, and I have had no issues at all. And one thing I do like is if you take a screenshot with Spectacle, it actually takes a screenshot of both monitors. I like that. It's probably nothing new to you guys, but I've had issues in the past with screenshot tools. Now, as you can see on the bottom, I've also changed. I want to go ahead and let you all know this. I changed because a lot of the times what people complain about is they do not like the icons Garuda comes with. So I come down here to icons, and you have plenty of them to choose from. But what I did is I went and downloaded an icon set called UOS. And if you think they look familiar, they are. They're the same icons that Deepin uses. And I just love the overall look of them better. It makes it look a little bit more sharp and classy to me. If you disagree, let me know in the comments below. And then when you open up Dolphin Manager, you get better looking icons over here and just easier to see things. And there's that screenshot I took a while ago, so let's go ahead and delete that. I did run into an issue. Down here, I'll just let you know, I've got Dolphin, Fire Dragon, Microsoft Edge because I need it for some of the work that I do. And then I've got Cases Guard, Console, GNOME boxes, OBS is running in the background, Kden Live, Shotcut, VLC, GIMP, OnlyOffice Desktop, Spectacles, your screenshot, Simple Note, great tool if you need a alternative to OneNote or what is Google's version of it. I can't remember. See, I've already pushed Google out of my mind and I don't even remember the name of their application. And then Kodi and then QBitTorrent. Now, if you are somebody that actually runs Kodi, sometimes when you try to install Kodi from Octopi, let's go up here and look it up. Let's open up Octopi. And we will go ahead and look for Kodi. Now right here it's got Kodi 19.4-5. I tried installing it from here, but I was missing several dependencies. Now this isn't just a Garuda issue. This is a Linux issue across the board. I had issues with it on my son's laptop that runs Pop! OS. I've had issues on it with my daughter's laptop that has Linux Mint on it. Sometimes Kodi would not gather all dependencies. So as a person that uses Kodi, what I ended up having to do was install Flatpak. Now, a lot of people, when you install Flatpak on Garuda, are like, okay, where are the instructions? Just go over and do a search. Install Flatpak on Garuda. Or you could even put install it on Arch. Do your search, and you'll see flatpak.org right here. Just come down here, and that's the simple command I used to install Flatpak onto the system. Then I restarted my system. And then all I did was install Kodi Flatpak terminal. And the search will come up. And you just scroll down a little bit. And there it is right there. Installing Kodi Flatpak via terminal. I just put Flatpak install flathub tv.kodi.K on Kodi. Installed. Took about 15 seconds. And then I had Kodi installed. Now, if you're not familiar with Kodi, it's just a multimedia center. If you've got a lot of movies and things like that that you want to use, you can. Me, I just go and use it for a lot of content that I already own. And subscriptions I already have, whether it be Disney Plus or Netflix. You can integrate that if you would like to. That's truly up to you. I'm going to go ahead and close out of that. Now what I do want to do is go back over to settings. I want to scroll down and go about this system. And it's running KDE version 5.2.5.4. We are running the 5.18.16 Zen kernel. I have the Intel Core i5, like I said, 7.3 gigabytes of RAM, which is really 8. The Mesa Intel UHD graphics. It's a Lenovo laptop. And there it shows you it's an IdeaPad 3. Now, I will have to say that this laptop did used to have Windows 11 on it, and it was the slowest, laggiest system I probably have ever used with Windows 11 on it. But when I put Garuda on here, it just came to life. It really did truly come to life. I don't want to keep carrying on and on, but here's what I'm going to say. If you want to give Arch a try, or if you just want to give Linux a try, Garuda makes it simple. Garuda right now, where it is in the timeline of how long it's been out, is ahead of anywhere that Manjaro was at the same time in their development. Like I said, I've had a couple hiccups, but most of those have been with like Kodi and things like that. When it comes down to general functionality, when it comes down to just getting your work done, getting things done and moving around the system and working, no issues at all. I'm going to reiterate this because I want you to know how important this is. This is the best Linux experience I've ever had. Now, will it be for you? I don't know. I don't know what your workflow is. I don't know what you do with your computer. But what I'm saying is, if you've got the time, download it, throw it on a USB, give it a shot, run it off of a live USB. I think you will be very, very impressed. It doesn't come with a bunch of bloated software. It does come with what some people would say is gaudy backgrounds and icons and things like that. But those are things that can be changed in less than 5 minutes. It took me less than 5 minutes to get rid of the latte dock, add my floating panel, change my icons, and give me something that I myself prefer over what they have out of the box. But other than that, it's the greatest experience I've ever had. Now, I will pin the video at the end of this one. It'll be in my suggested of where I showed you how to step-by-step install Garuda and how to go get your software that you want to use. Let's recap. This is Garuda Linux. I've been using it for a month. I've had no issues. It's updated on a daily basis and hasn't broken. It is the best Linux experience I've ever had. Let me know what the best Linux experience you ever had is. Put that in the comments below. And also, is Garuda something you might download, throw on a USB, and take for a test drive? Drop that in the comments below as well. If you like the channel and enjoy the videos that we're producing, you can support us by becoming a member right here on YouTube, going over to Patreon and becoming a patron to the channel, buying us a coffee, or zipping on over to PayPal and throwing us a donation. If you enjoyed the video you just watched, here are a couple more for you to take a look at. I generally cover Linux and open source, but sometimes I do a little Windows bashing and maybe a little Google bashing as well. As always, thank you for watching my video, and I will see you in the next video.